he is an icon. But, you know, then eventually you just kind of have to roll your sleeves up and, you know, we're all there to make the movie and, you know, do the best work that we can. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, you admire someone, their films and as a director and as an actor, but you've never really seen their process, you know. And to see the way that he actually works as a director, I mean, that's what I was constantly in awe of that, of his just ability, his skill. I mean, he's just a brilliant director.
When you first meet someone of that stature, it takes a while for the ghost of who you think they are and the legend, the status that they have so rightly deserved and earned to go away. And then when that does fade with time, you become peers and you really work with each other if there's a sense of mutual respect. And fortunately, Clint is someone who is of such high status, but at the same time loves actors and has an equal amount of respect for you. This is my second film with him. So I love being around him, and we laugh and have a very good time.
I went scouting, location scouting with him on this film, and you see people's reactions to him on the street and stuff like that. It's like you're walking down the street with George Washington or something, you know. So it's hard, it's difficult to get past that. And the interesting thing is he's past it. He's just a guy in his own head, you know. So he doesn't think of himself as Clint Eastwood, but it's hard for you not to think of him as Clint Eastwood.
I think he cast it to be done, and we knew going in, we'd heard that Clint does 1 or 2 takes and then he moves on. And so going in with that understanding, you as an actor are very prepared. You don't really need rehearsal. You make decisions about your character that are solid, and you trust that if you do anything really awful that he'll tell you. But he's very trusting and very giving, and it was a great experience.
When you come into contact with someone who's been sexually abused as a child, you realize how it alters the rest of their life completely. And not only their lives, but their family's life, the people they come in contact with. And, you know, it's a horrible thing.
It's the terrible thing that happens when you are not honest. One little lie becomes a bigger lie, becomes a tragedy. And this story is, you see it start to deconstruct, and one little lie turns into ultimate tragedy, you know. It's interesting because, you know, what I love about the film is that it's morally complex. It doesn't try to give you an answer, or doesn't try to give you a hero or a villain. It's just the way things are, the way life is, you know. It's very complex.
I mean, it's very much a Greek tragedy. It's like when you read the Oedipus story, when he's born, they say this is going to happen, and his fate is decided, and he doesn't have anything to do with it. And especially, I think in the United States, there's that kind of feeling like you can do anything, and you can make your own destiny, and you can make your own fate. But I think at a certain point, that's very difficult, and that you are a product of where you came from and your background. If you're born in Beverly Hills, you're going to have a different fate than someone who's born in a really poor neighborhood in South Boston. And there's going to be exceptions, and they use that exception to sell the myth that you can get away, but I think you can. And I think part of what the movie's saying is, I mean, certainly you have responsibility and you have some sway over your own life, but a lot of your life and where you end up is based on where it started and where you came from. And that's true for, in Tim Robbins' case, it's from a very specific event that happened to him. But in Sean Penn's case, it's from his neighborhood and who his father was and where he grew up and what his opportunity was to, yeah, so I think it's honest that way.
It's the kind of movie that I grew up looking at. It's the kind of movie that I would look at and say, you know, I want to be an actor. You know, movies like Deer Hunter, Prince of the City, you know, gritty, urban, character-driven, kind of, you know, epic kind of stories about people. And the fact that a movie like this is, it's going to take someone like Clint to get a movie like this made in the studio system these days.
And he's also a musician, Clint. So there's a sense of rhythm and a sense of music that's just in him, that he understands how to tell a story rhythmically, as well as visually and intellectually and emotionally. It's the added layer that he has that most directors don't.
When I worked with him, I thought, you know, where am I going to be in 30 years? Am I going to still be making, I hope so, but am I going to still be making movies? And I always think if I'm 30 years from now still making movies, people will say to me like, what is Clint, you know, tell us about Clint Eastwood, or I'll be happy that I once worked with him, you know, that my name is on a movie poster with Clint Eastwood's